Hello, welcome back to Severna. Um, so in today, I'm just going to show what I'm doing to try and increase Severna's grain independence, because it is the only commodity Severna doesn't have really, which is land, being such a small island. Now, I had planned initially to similar to what I've done with the Scarab nuclear plant, which was to build like an artificial island. But with the performance in the game starting to, really kind of reach the limits of what is not playable, but comfortably playable, um, is stretched. So I want to, keep the actual land of Severna limited. So I found this mod in the workshop, which is a greenhouse, and this greenhouse mod will enable me with this setup here to provide enough grain to the large fabric factory, which requires, I believe it's 100 tons of crops a day. So that's a significant amount. Even though at the moment it can't export fabric because all the clothes storages are more or less full. But I don't export any clothes at the moment because it does sometimes get a bit carried away, and you can end up eating into, especially when you do it with trains and storage cargo yards instead of the actual warehouses, can affect whether the percentage amount that you want to either put in or take out of doesn't work. So you can end up exporting more clothes than your republic is producing, and then the citizens don't get their clothes because in Severna our citizens come first. So only when domestic demand has been matched will we export things. So this mod that I'm using, which is a greenhouse mod, is this one here. I will put in, I'll try and find it on the workshop, and I'll put in an actual screenshot of its workshop thingamajig. And I do have, I will put in the comments a list of all the mods that I use in the game. Well, it's not a list of all the mods that I use, because I obviously don't use them all, but they're all the mods that I am subscribed to. So if there's a building in the game that you can see, if you subscribe to that, you will have it in your building inventory. But be warned, it's a lot of data, a huge amount, a silly amount of data to download that entire workshop. So I think it's about 100 gigabytes, something like that. So do bear that in mind. But anyway, the greenhouse then is, well, produces 25 tons of crops per day. So I have laid down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we should produce an extra 100 tons. Would that be per day, that can be distributed to the Republic? So yeah, so 4 will be enough to supply the so it would be 50 tons. Sorry, yeah, 50 tons extra a day, because each one of these should produce 25 tons each, which will allow us to maybe supply some other factories with the grain, with that extra 50 tons. I'm going to see how they work first. If this does prove efficient, and I am able to produce my own grain, that would be good, because that is the one thing that we're having to rely on a lot of ships for, and also because all the grain is imported into these into grain ports. So there's the grain port here in North Severna. Then there's a couple also in South Severna. So there's this one here. There's one here. And I think obviously there's the original grain and food production in Östervärn. And I think that is all the main ones. So that then has to be transported. So it takes trains, road trucks, etc. Even replacing, I might actually do that, to be fair. Just replacing the actual farms that we have, replacing that land with greenhouses. Be able to fit a significant amount on there. I could do with working out actually exactly how much grain. Well, I could tell that actually by looking how much we import, surely. Import of resources, Soviet bloc. So yeah. So we are importing a lot of crops. So let's have a look for this year. So 452,000 tons of grain. I think that would be quite difficult to match, but let's give it a go. Let's just try and even that amount out. Year I want, don't I? Haha. Yeah, so that's a heck of a lot. Well, it's the biggest thing. Nothing really comes close to it. It's in an absolute league of its own as far as amounts go. Food is I'm quite surprised with food, because I do try and produce all my own food, but then again, with 393,000 people, the rate that's increasing, it's just when the shops temporarily run out of food for a few moments, and it needs to be replaced, because I've mentioned many times, but to try and keep the performance relatively playable whilst having such a large population and having an economy that works, requires the use of trains for national distribution of requires the trains for the distribution of food, clothes and meat, because if you're relying on covered trucks to do that and to go to all the stores separately, you're quickly going to run into performance bottlenecks with that, because it is the pathfinding part of the game that causes a slowdown of CPU, because that it's every there's no way to efficiently really program that, I guess, because every republic is different, every has different routes. You are constantly changing it yourself as well on the fly in game, so it is it's quite a lot for the CPU to fathom. So limiting the amount of vehicles that you have on the road is really key to having a big republic that is still playable sort of once you get over 100,000 citizens. So I'll just point out So this is a very standard layout. This is Vernon Australis, like I think it's like the fourth city district that I built. So the centre of the district, I've got this warehouse. I will put a photo screenshot now of the workshop listing. So I have that in the middle, and then so you've got a single track line going into it, so it's nice and easy to wire it up. Is that right? To connect it to your railway network, and then from that I have 4 separate supermarkets spread out in a starlet. So it's you got this one giving the food to this side, this one. So that one warehouse and one train can keep all of these supermarkets filled up. Because whereas if you had a truck, you'd have maybe the truck going to the factory or some other kind of central storage area, and then having to deliver food individually. And the shops, they only hold 30 tons of food. They can quickly get overwhelmed and run out. But just as a fail-safe, everywhere else I do have an automatic purchase for food if it gets really low, but only food. And then I'd even know then once if it's a problem, then I will notice hopefully in citizen happiness levels. So that's how I distribute goods around the island. Another thing I need to do that I've been looking at is where is it? It's not that one. This one. The train routes. I want to sort this out and get some new trains. Maybe single. There's one particular train that I want, but it hasn't sort of been invented yet, so I can't buy the thing to it. But it's where is it's like one like this, but a more modern one. If I can find it, I'll put a picture up now of it. But yeah, I'm waiting for one of those to come along, and then I'm going to just really make the passenger rail routes much more efficient. So what I want to try and do, so I'm not keen on this name. I need to change it again. But the Civitas, which is the sort of the political centre of Severna, has these 3 like satellite stations, which are big stations where I can do like transfer. You can have 2 or 3 trains going in at a time. So what I was thinking of doing is, so this station here would be sort of the central hub for, say, all of sort of this area. So that would only have like one train that just goes around this area. And then this station would also have another train then that would go all the way over to Ustavern, around, loop around this bit, then loop into this bit, and then back to that one again. So that would just be 2 trains for North Central on that side, and then essentially do like the same thing again. So this side would have 1 train that went to east of it. It would only really serve east of Verna and Sarah, to be fair, and then come back into it. So just 1 loop there, and then another train that would then loop down into Ceres, into North Severna, loop round there, back to Ceres, back up to here, and then back to there. And then you can see the pattern. But one difference would be in North Severna, it does provide workers to the steel mill, which is obviously in and of itself a district due to the nature of the buildings that you need for that. Because you need the mine, you need the refinement buildings, storage, etc. So that does have two stations all by of itself. And Westlake here is it's a strange city, Westlake, because one it's on this, it's got this big chunk cut out of it, whereas the other districts are more or less able to be kept almost perfectly square. So in my head, I can plan it better, I can visualize it better. Whereas Westlake, yeah, it's kind of this big triangle kind of size. I did try, I have tried to like level it out a bit with these land reclamation, just leveling the terrain a bit out. But yeah, it hasn't really worked. But I would like to change this. And so yeah, so the trains here are all a bit gacky because you've got the steel mill, then you've got just this one little station here by itself. So I'll probably have one going round and coming back to North Severna, and then still keep separate trains that go up to the steel mill. But we'll see anyway. So I can't do that until I get that specific train model that I envision. I'll keep them running as is for the time being. So I don't think it's causing too much of an issue when you compare it with the freight rail on the island, which is far more trains, because you've got so here's like all the different train distribution yards. So here there's 5 each with 4 trains each. And it is just necessary to keep the distribution that's required of the island. And I've centralized it because I did try it because I thought, my initial idea was, I thought, well, if I spread all the train yards out, then there's less chance of like any lockups, or it's more simpler because it can find its way. But I find out with that would actually lead to more problems, because the trains then, they can meet up kind of like anywhere. You have to make sure that your whole grid is like really, really efficient, because you don't know where suddenly all those trains are going to decide that they want to be. If one food factory stops production for any reason, a fire's taken out a power substation or something like that, and so all the other trains quickly swarm another area, it could lead to a gridlock. Whereas this design, which keeps all of the yards together, which means you can focus your design of the layout to make this specific area very efficient, a very I can't think of the word, like very necessary for what you need, for the way it needs to be, instead of having to play whack-a-mole constantly around your republic. So in this game, if I notice that I haven't seen a train going around for a little while, or citizens' happiness starts to precipitously decline, I know where to look. I know where to check. So the first place I come is here to check that everything is working all right with the central junction. It does look like an absolute, mess, but it's evolved into this. I've slowly changed every time there's some kind of a lockup or something like that. I find out what caused it, and then I change something to make sure that doesn't happen again. So repeat that over and over and over again. You do eventually get to something that works 99.999% of the time. Like don't get me wrong, I still have lockups, but thankfully they're much infrequent. And I, because I've had this game more or less since release, it's kind of was like a baptism of fire earlier on with that. If you had any kind of complex rail network, 90% of the game was going around fixing signal issues. But fortunately, that's changed. Because also, actually, another thing that used to cause a lot of problems for me, because obviously you haven't guessed by my accent, I'm British. My head, the way that it works with the railway lines is left, they ride on the left. It is now an option in the game to change it to that. Whereas when I've just realised that this looks like a yacht. See, it's like there's like the bow, there's like the superstructure, little like communication massy type thing, then like the lower deck, and then God, yeah, it literally looks like a super yacht. Sorry, so yeah, because I was designing it so that the trains rode on the left, the default position that I'm going to put an overlay here of a super yacht on that. It's like I can't unsee that now. That being on the left hand side would cause a lot of issues, because the trains by default wanted to do the opposite thing to the way that I'd set it up, whereas now you can select an option for the trains to drive on the left hand side, which is cool. So back to the subject matter of the actual video after that tangent. We are building these greenhouses to supply one of the heaviest users of grain, and one that doesn't have its own grain port, so the grain does have to be delivered here at the moment. And it looks like it is only just really key, and that's only because it's not producing anything, because the fabric stores are full. Starting here, we can then, if it works here, if it is efficient, then we're gonna do that with the farms. I'm gonna replace those. So our electronics factory is missing Stu. Hello. So is steel on the way, or have I not set up the distribution right? Doesn't look like it. I think that's supplied by this. So it's getting the aluminium there. Maybe I've not... oh no, there we are. I have got something to pick up steel. And the place I've selected for steel has steel. Maybe it doesn't have enough open trucks, so I think I made a load before, yeah. Could just be that it can't hasn't got the capacity, so I'll send it another flat bottom truck. I'll just fill that up, actually. Just leave it open. Pop them in there. Oh, some more, I think. But if I've got any more flat, Nope, I have not. Send a couple of them little vans there. Well, see if any go. Some have. Hopefully steel will arrive shortly. So that was the last project in the last video. So yeah, it is missing those items, but that's because this is what produces those. But we need steel. So hopefully these new open trucks will go straight out. So we need steel. Come on. Click clop. Hang on, have I told it to unload steel? I'll just double check that is what I think it is. Yeah, see? That's usually 9 times out of 10. It's just me not setting it up properly. So those open trucks now, yeah, they've already gone. Look, they're already out. They'll be getting that steel, and we'll be starting production here. So we'll need a ship to export those electronics. Because I am trying to make electronics Severna's most valuable export, along with, well, maybe not most valuable, but most profit. You know, the amount that we do. So I've already got a couple of boats that I made earlier waiting in the boats yard. So we only really need one, and this can transport 437 tons of electronics, which is a nice amount of electronics. That will make a tidy sum, and this little factory here will just hum away, and those goods will be going straight from the factory to the border. Right, so that's that started. Got a new heating plant, new district heating plant under construction here as well, as winter is coming, and this is all a new area. Actually, let me just check that. Right, yeah, so to gold. Oh, uh-oh, that's pretty bad. Okay, where is the actual... Right, is this a production or distribution issue? Wow, 2 problems in one. Right, right. Oh Lord. Remember what I said about how great my railways are and they don't lock up anymore? Just remember that. Right, let's see what's happened here. That needs to be a chain there. do maybe perhaps keep them. Okay. Right, where's this train wanting to go? Uh, 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 uh. No. That train shouldn't even be doing that route. That's an oversight by me. Yeah, when you're setting up your distribution, make sure you don't accidentally select one storage to both put in and take out. If it's one storage, it might be okay. It might not get, if you set a limit on it. So like put in up to 90%. And then only withdraw when it's like or whatever. But because I've got these two separate rail yards connected to a common warehouse, the distribution office doesn't know that. So when it picks up, it will see. So when it picks up, it will see one storage losing supply. So it thinks, I need to fill that up. But then it goes and takes from the same supply, and so it just goes round and round in circles. So make sure that you've not done that, and your train should be okay. I mean, this was a signalling issue that caused the lockdown, but like I said, I don't think that train should have been there anyway. But now that should slowly unlock itself. So anyway, why was I here? What was I talking about? I can't remember. But yeah, that just points out another little error that can happen in the game from... Oh yes, the heating. So where is this area getting its heating from in the first place? Okay. Yeah, we need to build another heating plant. Actually, I'll build an electric heater and run it off that massive nuclear power plant that's right there. Why did I think of oil first? Okay. This should give us a nice boost. Pop it here. Mm. Bugger. So we'll build this from funds, as we do. I've got 2.9 billion. Let's wire this up now. Oh. There we are. I don't want to give up entire port, entire connection just to this one thing. So I'll put in one of these. Right, so that's that. And then just for reliability's sake, I'll then connect this one. It might cause an overload, we'll see. Connect this one, I think I've got, yeah, so there's one hanging out there, which is more of a general supply. Let's see if this does the trick. Does it require... Let's get that info up. Okay. It'll probably take a little while for the cables to be built. We can also watch that backlog of trains as well. Oh dear, it's getting colder. Yeah, so those buildings at the moment have almost no heating because they're just matching the temperature. And I think that oh no, I thought the heating plants had come on then, but it's just that it got warmer. There we go. The interior temperature is now exceeding external temperature. Not for those ones to the far west. Easily rectified with a nice heat exchanger that we shall place right here. There we are. Always remember to wire them, or plumb them in rather. Oh, it's going to have to be slightly askew. Wow, underground wires take a long time. I know, I mention that in nearly every single game. Every single video, rather. But yeah, damn, those cables take a long time to get laid. Anyway, it's not... The piping is obviously not quite finished yet. I mean, it's cool that this heating plant is running even though it isn't connected directly to the power plant just yet, but that probably would lead to power spikes and things if it's running just off substations, because it's a lot of energy for them to supply. That wire should now be locked in. Well, there's no electricity running through it at the moment. Ah, there we go. See, that's slightly off. It's like slightly orangey. So that's a lot of juice running through one cable. So connecting the two should hopefully balance that out. But again, taking a little bit of time. Man! I think as well it's seems longer because I'm obviously used to having the faster speed for the early parts of the game, but then obviously it does then get to the point where you can't run that as well anymore. Yeah, so power, there's a little bit of a spike down there. Let's check out that heating. Yeah, there we go. Sorted. All nice and warm. All running. This area has always been an issue. I'll sort it out one day, but nobody lives there, so it's not too bad. But yeah, the rest. Okay. Again, I'll rethink. I'll put my faith in electricity again. Do I find that as well when you play? It's just click. You're just clicking the wrong thing all the time, or is that just me? Ah, I know. Ah, hang on. No, I do need to reactivate this plant, this power plant, which is a gas power plant, which I am trying to phase out. Well, I have phased out on the island, but it has another attribute. It does produce fertilizer. So I'm going to just run this one heating plant off it, which do drink, a lot. It'll be, I think, about maybe 20% of its production, just so I can keep that supply of liquid fertilizer. Which I will sort out once those greenhouses are built. I'll set up the distribution of that fertilizer. Really? See, we've got power problems over here. Oh yes, of course. So we'll just run that a little bit. Just switch on entirely, actually. Come on. Somebody come to work. Right, so hopefully that'll sort that out. Nothing's life-threatening over there, so back to our greenhouses, see how they're getting on. I will just build another heat exchanger up this end. And this will have an underground pipe. Might be too long. Wow, it all surprised me how far heating pipes can reach. means I've just built those other 2 plants. I'll just build this. So they can focus on the greenhouses. Actually, it could probably just have its own pump. Get that flash built. And that should then warm up these cold souls over here. Once somebody is assigned to work there. Okay, there we go. And there we can see now those buildings are warming up nicely as they decrease in temperature. But once our plant here is properly kicked in and that pipe's built, okay, well, to make sure we're making it robust, I'll just pop in another heat exchanger over now. Okay, that should pretty much now solve that little heating shortfall there. So this was supposed to just be a quick, oops, get rid of that overlay. Yeah, so this was supposed to just be a quick video, just showing you my little strategy here. So I'm going to call it quits there, because I could literally talk forever, and I got things to do. But if you did enjoy the video, if you learned anything, or if you have any suggestions, the ways that I can improve Severna, then please do write those in the comments down below. I do try and respond to every comment, and I would love to have earned your subscription today. So please do let me know. Have a great day, whatever you're doing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.